Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Had a little special ceremony happening backstage because the USA freaking did it. They won. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. But boys and girls, welcome to the show. This is the Info Arcade, and I am joined with my incredible co-host, as always, Kyle the Stathead Sheridan. I am Jaden Stanley, and out tonight is AJ Kaw, as he is coming back from his Thanksgiving travels, but we hope everyone had a fantastic holiday weekend. Kyle, did you get any good deals this weekend? You go shopping? You do anything exciting for the holiday?
I mean, aside from Thanksgiving starting out pretty slow, and then because I had two Thanksgivings, went
Okay.
back home with the family. That was very wholesome. Came back here, chaos. The cat gone. Everything was almost in flames, but it was all under control. We saved it. The turkey, delicious. The food, impeccable. In terms of good deals, got a free mattress, free bed frame, got like drawers underneath it.
Let's go.
That's pretty good.
Nothing says a good deal like a good night's sleep. Am I right?
Yeah, let me tell
That's
you.
why today's sponsor. I'm just kidding. That would have been a really good segue. All you mattress brands out there. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in here on this beautiful Tuesday night. If you're like me and millions of other Americans, today you tuned in to our first story of the day. Let's go ahead and get it started. This is First Up. And
let's go.
I didn't know if we're gonna have to come in clutch there like Christian Pulisic did, but it ended up working. It all worked out. Anyway, guys, enough with the chit chat. We had an incredible World Cup closure of the group stages today when the U.S. took on Iran. They went up. They won with an impressive, albeit sacrificial, goal from Christian Pulisic as he took a shot to the abdomen from the goalie as he is getting really aggressive on this goal. But they go up 1-0 in the last few minutes of the first half. They are able to stretch it out and hold off the Iranian offensive. They were being super ferocious, and I honestly was on the edge of my seat, super nervous the entire second half. But they did what needed to be done, and the U.S. of A. is moving on to the group stages. They play the Netherlands this Saturday at 9 a.m. Central. So, Kyle, I know you haven't really been watching a whole lot of World Cup, but I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, I'm ready.
The World Cup, as we know it, we talked about this earlier before the show, has been a complete disaster from a lot of perspectives outside of just the gameplay. There's so much chaos happening in Qatar. But we're looking forward ahead. We're looking at the 2026 World Cup in the United States of America. With the U.S. advancing into the round of 16, the elimination bracket, what do you think this is going to do for the United States and fans of the United States? Maybe that aren't necessarily soccer fans, but they're, full-on patriots. I should say. What do you think that's going to do for the U.S. for the World Cup upcoming?
I think a lot of more, I guess, simpletons of this sport are going to have to pay attention. Because if there's one thing Americans can just universally agree upon, it's the unga bunga feeling you get of watching sports. Like, listen, I may not be the biggest soccer head, all right, but USA hasn't lost, all right? We haven't, all right? That's pretty impressive because the last time we placed was 1930. So we're not well known for our soccer. But with this moving on in the bracket, with a guy literally falling down on, he hurt himself for America. That's America right there. We all kind of were like, yeah. Like when it comes here, I think it's going to be, here's what I predict. I predict the fans here, we're just crazy enough that that's going to be the highlight of the cup. I think the fans are if America does well in the World Cup in America, we're going to be breaking tables. We're going to be like We're gonna get beer snakes. First of all, we better get beer snakes. That
There
better
better be
happen.
beer snakes.
There better be beer snakes at World Cup USA. We're gonna get like people hugging each other, fighting each other. Who knows? But there's gonna be a beer snake. There's gonna be tables broken, and there better be some good wings too. That's American sports.
Yeah, Freddie Airmail says, would the 2026 World Cup be fan controlled though? I don't know. It'll be more fan controlled than Qatar's World Cup. I will say that much. But what I will say though is that if you guys really are big soccer fans, you're looking at the U.S. team as a whole. We're a super young team. The average age is like 21. We only have one guy on the entire 24-man roster that has played in a World Cup before, and that's it. And so that's pretty impressive to think about. We have these young guys that are playing super aggressive, and also not on the roster, the USA men's U17 team. That means all of the 17 and under players are playing also at different world tournaments. And they actually just played a tournament in Spain. They beat England. They beat Wales. They drew with Spain. And that's the future of the USA men's team that's going to be playing in the World Cup with some of the existing players that are there now. So I think they are not so much looking to win this World Cup, although if they do make it really far in this round of 16, it could be huge for U.S. soccer. But more importantly, their eye is to win at home, because nothing says winning is just nothing says the magic of winning like winning at home in front of your own fans. Where just every corner, is just people rooting for you, cheering you on. I could think back to like every NBA championship or every big sporting event in my city. Whenever my team went to go to the championship, in this case, it was the Oklahoma City Thunder when they went to the Western Conference Finals, when they went to the finals, all those different times. It's those magic moments where everything shuts down. Everyone's eyes are on the game, and that's the beauty of sports, is being able to just see that happen. And we might see that in the 2026 World Cup, and I'm super excited for that.
Let me just look dead into camera. Hey, Netherlands, I know that you're a high win probability, even a high tie probability.
True.
You don't understand. You're making us the underdogs.
Well, the beauty
and we thrive as underdogs.
It's true. We are underdogs. We do thrive as underdogs. We look at what we did with England. We drew with England, a team that is far better than us. Like, honestly, way more experience, and we gave them a run for their money. We showed up like we were a top team, just like they are, and that was awesome. I look at this Netherlands game, and I'm thinking one thing, and that is, what is the status of some of these players? If you watch tonight's game, Christian Pulisic goes down with his goal. Then there were some other injuries, other things happening. So that's the big question mark for me, is who's healthy, who's playing on Saturday. The second thing is that, like whenever we're playing this Netherlands team, it's a completely different kind of soccer than what we've been playing against. Completely different. CONCACAF and European soccer are just so different. So I'm interested to see kind of what's going to shake out. But we did get some news on Christian Pulisic's status. We're going to share that with you guys here tonight. He is A-okay. Matter of fact, Christian Pulisic made this incredible Instagram post of him in the hospital bed saying that game was effing awesome. And because of how awesome it was, I've got to say, like, I'm so proud of my boys. Don't worry about me. Let's enjoy the celebrations. I'll see you on Saturday. So he is saying to everyone, hey, he's okay. He just went to the hospital for precautions, just to make sure that everything was good. But it seems like he's going to be playing on Saturday, which is good news for the Americans. I can't say any more about it other than it's a breath of fresh air and a relief. So,
I mean, I'm just happy that he's going to be okay, because injuries, you don't want to see anyone get hurt.
Yeah, especially at the World Cup when people are there, on the world's biggest stage. Man, like, I really don't think the U.S. can contend without the leadership of Christian Pulisic there on the front left wing. I really don't think so. So I mean, it hurt us in the second half. If you watch the second half of this game, his presence was missing. We also saw Sargent get hurt, so he went out. He plays so aggressive, even though he's a striker. He plays so aggressive on defense. That hurt us a lot in the second half after he got hurt. So I think it's really needed. I think we're really in for a good show this Saturday. I'll make sure I'm tuning in.
Oh,
In
yeah.
fact, we have a lot, and I mean a lot of games to watch this Saturday, because if we're talking about this football, don't forget that we've got college football this Saturday as well. That's right. Good old American gridiron football. And we're going to talk more about that. But first, let's go to the NFL with our sports segment. Let's continue it. All right. Well, I asked you before the show, Stat. I said, okay, buddy, I know I'm going to want to talk about soccer, but you got to pull me away. Tell me, what do you want to talk about? And this was the first thing that came out of your mouth, the first thing that you're like, this needs to be discussed right now. And that is what is happening at the QB position for the Jets in Zach Wilson. I'll let you go ahead and kick this one off, buddy.
Now, look, I don't want to say it has something to do with the Patriots' amazing defense. It does. But that's we were going to beat the Jets anyway. Our offense is struggling, that's fair. But their defense really stepped up. They didn't just shut us down. They shut our weapons down. Mac Jones played a hell of a game. And, it pains me to say that they defensively, it was a defensive matchup. Those are the best games for me, when the defense is just shutting each other down. But while Mac Jones and our offense was actually getting better, the Jets weren't.
Yeah.
9 completed passes, I believe, out of 20.
That's brutal.
For 77 yards. And everyone's talking about that interview. And if you don't know, which you probably do, but if you don't know, Zach Wilson was gifted on a silver platter the easiest question for any quarterback in the NFL. Do you think you let your defense down today? And he looked at them and said, no.
Oof, man.
And then cut to next week. Zach Wilson's not getting that job. He's lost the locker room for sure. Mike White, who, I'm going to be real, I love Mike White. I think he's a legend in his own right. The dude slings the rock. He scores points. He comes in 300 yards, 4 touchdowns later. They win. Wow. Is it against a Justin Fields-less Bears team? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But honestly, the Bears did the right thing. Justin Fields was like, yeah, my shoulder's not good. They're like, let's just bench you.
Let's not pull a Miami here, and let's actually take precautions to protect our quarterback. I know that sounds scary. Let's do it.
Zach Wilson, I think, had so many flashes of brilliance. I think he had so much potential. And just to have that kind of arrogance of, this ain't my fault. The offense looked cleaner without him. Elijah Moore got involved. That was something that we were all like, where the hell is he? Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson. The whole offense was rolling under Mike White, not because Mike White, athletically is the same as Zach Wilson. Athletically, pure athletics, I think Zach Wilson has the edge, but Mike White had a command over that Jets team. He had been in that system. He had been there before, and he had just came in and he led. And I don't know the behind the scenes of what Mike White did, but I sure as hell know Zach Wilson wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
I'm going to be fascinating to see where he ends up, because Zach Wilson's going to have to do a lot to win back this locker room. If not, we could see him as trade bait in a different locker room. But even then, just any defensive player out there that sees that interview is going to have some hesitation having Zach Wilson step in, because if you play as hard as that defense did, and then that your supposedly franchise quarterback sweeps your performance under the rug, I don't want to go to war with that guy. That
Yeah.
guy doesn't have my back. And like he's gotta like don't get anyone a fruit basket because those go bad the moment you open them. You're gonna have to get someone more than money can buy. You're gonna have to really show up, really become like you're not gonna be put back in that leadership position.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to take your licks if you want to win. You're gonna have to take what's coming to you. Like it honestly, you know what I think of it as? It's like that scene in The Longest Yard when Adam Sandler, it looked like he was going to sell out his team again, and he started playing bad, and the offensive line just gave up, and they
Yeah.
all let him get rocked because that's what it was. You have to take your licks. You have to win that locker room back because otherwise, you're out of a job, my friend.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is like, yes, Zach Wilson had a bad game, but the Jets have had a great record so far, predominantly a winning record. They've been doing really well. I love this comment from Freddie Airmail. Says, I don't think it's flat out arrogance as much as it is inexperience and immaturity. And I 100% agree with that. But who are you going to go to? You're going to go to a natural born leader, somebody who knows the system, knows the locker room, or are you going to go with a rookie who, yeah, we might have drafted him high and he might be the hottest thing next week. But the problem is if he cannot get the respect of your locker room, it does present some problems with chemistry. So it'll be interesting to see how the Jets play this one out. I'm really not worried about the Jets. I think that they've got a full system figured out over there of what they're going to do, what they need to do. I do think if Zach continues to play and not show up to his games, if he doesn't perform, if he has low stats, I don't think he gets the job. I think at that point it goes over to White, and that's the end of the story. Jets need to win games. This is coming up on the end of the season. Playoffs are right around the corner. They've got to be prepped and ready to go to battle to a playoff that they haven't been to in a while. So they've got to be able to compete. And speaking of college playoffs, we got college football playoff updates. This weekend, I'm really sad. We're going to have a lot less college football weekend, but this one is all for all the marbles. This weekend, we have all of our championship matchups happening. We've got some really interesting matchups, things I didn't necessarily see coming. We have Utah versus USC. We have Kansas State taking on TCU in the Big 12. LSU versus Georgia. That's going to be an incredible game. We're going to go over all these in a second. Central Florida taking on Tulane. That's a surprise. Tulane being there. I mean, they've had an incredible year, but not a name at the beginning of the season I would have picked to be in this conversation for a championship game. Clemson at North Carolina, and then Purdue versus Michigan. Let's just look at last weekend.
Yeah.
Top of the board, we had Georgia. They didn't move. They dominated their game. They did well. And then we had the most anticipated game of the week. We had Ohio State taking on Michigan. Michigan pulls the upset. They beat Ohio State. They send Ohio State packing and kick them out of a Big Ten championship shot. And so now that's why we have Purdue taking on Michigan here. And I don't see an upset happening in that Michigan game. I think Michigan's going to stay pretty strong here. I think they're going to hold on to that number 2 seed. I think Georgia is going to be LSU. I think that's going to be a closer game than the Purdue-Michigan game, to be honest. But I think Georgia's going to be stay at number 1. Michigan's going to be at number 2. The question then is at number 3, and we're going to have a whole conversation about this at the end for our boss battle tonight. But let's just go over who is in that number 3 spot right now, and that's Texas Christian University, TCU. They would presumably slide into that 3 spot after staying undefeated, being able to walk away against a dominating game against Iowa State, which Iowa State hasn't had a great year, so it's not a big showmanship. But in that number 4 slot is projected to be USC, taking on the undefeated Bruins. I think the Bruins were undefeated, or maybe they were a 1-loss team. Either way, they beat the Bruins. They handled them so well. USC is just, and Lincoln Riley and all that drama that started the year before when he was at OU and took Caleb Williams with them. Now they are performing so well at SoCal, and I'm interested to see how the Trojans are going to do. Freddie Airmail, thank you for you coming in clutch there. That was the 3rd loss for UCLA. They were 9-2 prior to the game last week, and they got beat. So I don't know, guys. Like, let's just go down the list here. Utah, USC. Do you see any surprises there? Do you think USC takes that W?
I'm always going to root for chaos. With how the NFL has been, with how college football has been, I'm rooting for chaos. I want Utah to win.
Yeah.
I want Utah to win. And listen, I'm like kind of a Bama fan, mainly because they're a pipeline into the Patriots. That's just what they are at
It's
this
their
point.
AAA team.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is if you think about it.
If there
Like
was AAA.
if Utah wins and the Buckeyes lose,
Yeah.
Bama can sneak in.
It's true. It is
And
true.
I want chaos. Uh it's just so delicious in the morning. Just everything going a way you don't think it's gonna. That's why I love TCU being a ranked team, because when I think big power teams in college football, I don't really think Horned Frogs. And the fact that they're undefeated, I'm like, oh yeah.
And they have the number one ranked most difficult schedule
I'm all in on
prior
TCU
to
going
the
all the
season.
way, by the way. Like
I
that's
want
my team.
that's my squad too, man. I've been a TCU fan since like 7th grade. So I've like been following TCU a long time. And to see them where they are now under Zach Duggan or Max Duggan, sorry. He is an incredible leader. I don't see why he shouldn't be in New York for that Heisman run. I don't think he'd win it. I think Caleb Williams is going to pull that off. I do agree with Freddie. I think the Big 12 is better than they look. They have a lot of losses on their record, but that's because they're playing each other. They're cannibalizing each other. Freddie just took the words right out of my mouth. 9 out of 10 of their teams just ate each other for breakfast because they are a tough division, which really makes me wonder. Side note, what's it going to be like when Texas and OU go to the SEC? I don't know.
Chaos.
It just chaos. But
Chaos.
will Texas and USC or Texas and Oklahoma really haven't shown up very much this season? Texas has done more so than OU. OU has had a dismal record. But I like TCU. I want TCU to win. K-State and Baylor are two tough opponents. Whenever TCU played Baylor 2 weeks ago, that was the one game I was worried about. And the next game I was worried about, Kansas State. And now they're playing Kansas State for the Big 12 championship. They have to win the championship game to get into the college football playoff. Unfortunately, that's where they're at. They don't have the pedigree to just walk on in like Bama, even with one loss. Like Alabama's going to walk in there with 2. They're going to walk in there with 2 losses if all the dominoes fall, which is crazy. But the only reason that Bama can do that is because they have that privilege of pedigree, as we call it. And so it's going to be really interesting to see how that goes. Also, looking over at this, we've got some other really good matchups. I'm really interested to see how Central Florida does against this Tulane team. Is Tulane all they're cracked up to be, or
again? I want them to be.
You want chaos, I know.
I want Tulane. Like, how many times has Tulane been ranked as, like, just in general? And, like, they're ranked higher than UCF, and I think they are. I think they are better. But, like, there's so many, like, UTSA being ranked 23. I didn't see that happening either.
Well, dude, University of Texas San Antonio. So what you're seeing is that Texas high school football players are staying in state borders.
Insane.
They're staying in state borders. What has happened years ago? They were going to Oklahoma. They were going to Bama. They were going to USC. They were going to all these different universities outside of the state of Texas. But for some reason, the recruiting has just gone through the roof. And now even like North Texas is a terrible team traditionally. They're playing for a championship game against University of Texas San Antonio this week. Like, what? Like, it just goes to show that Texas is a force to be reckoned with. If you look at the top 25, they have so many teams that are there, and it's because the recruiting is doing so well. Clemson also has really great recruiting. They've got a great pedigree. They're taking on North Carolina. I think Clemson holds on to this one. I think they win it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think Michigan Purdue. That's not even in my mind. That's not a contest right now. I think Michigan's gonna take that one. LSU and Georgia is gonna be a good game, though. LSU's not. They're no stranger to upsets.
Yeah.
Upsetting Alabama. I think they could do it to Georgia? No. Do I want them to? A little bit. A
If
little bit.
Georgia loses, what does that do for the college football playoff bracket?
Everything
Oh
changes.
my gosh. For real though.
Like,
For real.
I think,
That would put Michigan at number 1. That would put
well,
TCU at number 2, or stay at number 3, and Georgia just drops down 1. That's insane.
TCU had the toughest schedule though, and they smoke K-State, which I'm not like
Well, yeah, you're
then
right.
and Michigan, like, say they get in a tougher, like, closer thing with Purdue, which I don't know that will happen looking at the Ohio State game, but let's just say it does. TCU might leapfrog, pun intended, to number 1. Georgia might go down to 2, or Georgia will have to go down to 3 because they would be a one-loss team. And how are your top teams not like going to be undefeated teams?
I don't know, but this just comes back into, yes, this is chaos. This is super fun to talk about, but it's all the more reason why they need that expansion. I'm glad the college football playoff expansion is coming in the future, because these conversations are going to be a little bit less. We're not going to have these conversations as much as we like the best 8 teams are going to play, right? Or the best 10 teams, or whoever. I can't remember what they decided on the number. I think it was 10. They do 2 wild card games, and then they go from there. It might be. I can't remember.
I'll always be, give me the best team from each conference and the best FCS team. Put those 12 suckers into a playoff. Because, like, listen, I want to see Jackson State in the playoffs. I want to see them compete for a national championship.
Yeah.
You don't you in the comments tell me that Jackson State couldn't take on anybody in this ranking. I think they could. I believe there's only 4 undefeated college teams, and that they're the top 3, and then Jackson State. You put Jackson State, I think they could do
that would be chaos too. Oh my gosh.
That would be so chaotic, and I would love it, because if we did my system, I think TCU, I think we get Jackson State going real deep. I still want TCU.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We're going to talk more about that here at the end, but we're going to continue on. We have some more NFL talk to talk about. This interesting stat popped this week, and that is this. Let's talk about the NFC Beast, as I should call them now, because as of this week, if the playoffs were to start this coming weekend, every team in the NFC East would be in the playoffs. Every one of them. The Giants, the Eagles, the Boys, and the Commanders, all of them would be there. If the NFL playoffs were to happen, they would all be there. The top seed of each conference gets a bye in the wild card round of the NFL postseason, and the other division winners get the number 2 through number 4 seeds, and then the number 5, 6, and 7 go to the best non-division winners with the best records. So that's how they would be able to get in there. They would be able to all be competing for the wild card. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Because I feel like the NFC East hasn't been a present like division in a while.
They've always been tight. They've always been tight. I don't want to say that they always been a threat to other teams. Not really, but they've always been close.
Mm-hmm.
And like, listen, talking about beasts from the East, I'm gonna shout out the AFC East as well, because that is a race right now. Yeah. Like, with the loss to the Vikings, which honestly, the Vikings are on a tear. They needed a bounce back game, and we made a lot of mistakes. I'm not into blaming the refs. We should have made that a lot closer, but the refs did screw us. Yeah. But we're still very much in this fight. Yeah. And looking at both teams from the East, like, golly, like, I don't know what they got going on over there, but they're doing football right. Like, yeah. Heineke came back in as he should have been this whole time. I'm a big believer in Taylor Heineke. He should have they should have never went to Wentz. They should have just had Heineke, rolled with him. He's got the juice. He's the corn of the Commanders.
I knew you were about to say
he's the Commanders' corn. He's got the juice. Leave him in. Daniel Jones is being what we never thought he would be. Saquon is on a tear. I couldn't name you one receiver they have, but they're winning games.
Yeah,
the Cowboys are the Cowboys.
At what point did they take the body of that New York Giant quarterback and infuse him with the electronic components of a super powered android to come out and be a competitive force. Like Dylan Jones hasn't been present in fantasy for friggin' ever. I watched Monday Night Football last year with the Chiefs at home against the Giants.
Dylan,
Huh?
That's how long it's been since he's been prevalent. He's called him Dylan.
Oh, see?
He's been so irrelevant.
Why did I call him Dylan?
We don't even remember his
Oh,
name.
you know what? I actually personally know a Dylan Jones. That's why.
Shout out to Dylan Jones. What up, Dylan?
My boy. What up, Dylan? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, bro. I'm so tired. Pretty sure, like, I'm coming down with something, but the show must go on. Anyway,
yep.
All I'm looking at is just like, man, like, I watch him play at Arrowhead. Just dismal performance. Just terrible last season. And then this year, like, dude, this is a completely different NFC East by far.
I know what the difference is.
What is it?
And for the Giants, it's because they got, arguably, I think, if, knock on wood, I don't want to root for the Giants, but as I've said on this show, as I've said on my podcast, I will always root for former Patriots. 5-time Super Bowl champion for the Patriots, Brian DeBall.
Yeah.
Man knows how to win. Man also knows how to correct quarterbacks. Let's look at the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen. All right. He comes over here. I'm not shocked. The Eagles and Cowboys, I'm not surprised because it's usually been either or with them. Like one of them is going to be on top, in my opinion, every year. So the Eagles, with everything that they've thrown in this team, they're crushing it. The Cowboys, my only note with Cowboys, one note, you got to ditch Zeke.
Yeah,
I think
they definitely
Zeke
are struggling in the run game for sure.
Give Zeke somewhere else. Let him start over. Tony Pollard is legit.
Mm-hmm.
He can do it all. And now you don't need him on kick returns anymore because they have Kevontae Turpin.
Yeah.
Shout out to your boy. I
would love to see Kevontae take some snaps. Like, I'd love to see him back there on that offense playing running back. He got the juice. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this segment. But first, I want to know your thoughts. Out of these 4 teams, which one do you think is not going to make it? Which one's going to fall short? For me, it's got to be New York or it's got to be Washington.
Realistically, I don't think any of them are.
Okay.
Like Seattle is the closest thing to challenging the Commanders and Giants, which good for them. But everyone else is like, the South is garbage right now. And I don't see anyone else from the North or West doing anything. So really, it's Seattle is the lone thing that can challenge these guys. And it'd be the Commanders, really. I think it's just the Commanders that are just kind of like wibble wobbly, but I think all 4 of them are going to be in, as I do with the AFC East. I'm saying that now. All 4 East teams on both sides are going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah. It's good. That's good. I'm ready to see how it all plays down. You know me. And we're going to step away from sports for just a second. We're coming back with more NFL and fantasy here in a minute, but we got to talk some entertainment news as well. A few hours ago, while I was celebrating the US of A World Cup victory, we got a new trailer for the new Super Mario movie. And we already talked on the show about the first Super Mario movie trailer. And here we are again. We're back at it. We're talking about this this second trailer. Did you get a chance to watch it?
I chose not to because I value my time.
Fair enough. They show Seth Rogen's Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
They show Mario. They show Peach. They get some good voiceover work. Yeah. So I mean, dude, I've got to say that I'm actually okay. I know I'm excited as a dad to go take my kids to this movie, but also as a longtime gamer, nerd, and Mario fan. I don't care if the voices aren't spot on. It's Illumination. It's gonna be a good movie. I'm gonna go see it.
My only note's been the same one. Like, I'm gonna see it. I'm not gonna see it in theaters. I'm gonna wait till it like pops out on a streaming service, and I'm gonna get like incredibly inebriated with my friends, and we'll watch it and make fun of it because that's what I feel like this movie deserves from me. Now, if you're a father, if you're got a family, you bring the kids. I'm sure they'll love it, and I love that for you. My only one problem is it perpetuates a note. This movie perpetuates a notion that is a
Hmm.
problem that has been happening in Hollywood, which is it is downplaying voice actors. There are legitimate people out there, the unnamed heroes of entertainment that don't get enough credit, that don't get enough shout outs. The fact that you got the OG Mario voice to be in the movie, but you still went with Chris Pratt because you needed to draw in tickets.
Yeah.
Like that was the problem with, in my opinion, with the when Rock played Crypto. Like
Yeah.
the advertisement for that was not Crypto; it was Dwayne the Rock Johnson. That's what this feels like to me. Get legitimate voice actors. Get
Yeah.
and sell us on the character.
Yeah.
I don't care that Chris Pratt is voicing it.
The sad
Like,
part is like people are going to show up, they're going to pay tickets for it, and
yep,
Hollywood's just going to do more of the same,
yep,
unfortunately. But I am, this is going to happen. The
yep.
movie's going to release, it's going to get leaked, and someone's going to go back and get an amazing voiceover cast to redo it all in the Mario voices.
Oh yeah.
It might not be the original Mario voice actors, but there's so many good impersonators out there
Oh
of
yeah.
those characters that someone online is going to redub the whole movie.
I
And I'm curious to see how that one's going to be in comparison. Uh,
I
it's going
have
to happen.
I have two things about this movie. One, I look at everyone in this audience. I challenge you to find, look up voice actors. Just look up from your favorite shows. Look, just show them some love on the internets. Like, go look them up, search them up on IMDb. There's a lot, and you'll find out that a lot of people that voice one thing probably have voiced your entire childhood. Do some research. Second thing, it would be great, and I will say it for this movie, and I'll also say it for Avatar 2. And I'm sure I'm the only one, but I love it. Let's Morbius this movie. Let's Morbius the crap out of this movie. Let's make them believe that we loved it. No, we want it back, but no one sees it. I would
It's
love
not.
that.
It's not going to happen.
I
It's not
know
going to
it's
happen.
not, but I'm gonna
But
be like that tiny little percentages that's like, but what if
I'm
it
I'm gonna
did?
I'm gonna bet right now that it's going to come out with raving reviews, and 3 weeks in, you're probably going to go see it. You're going to cave and go see it in theaters.
Oh
That's
no,
my theory.
absolutely not. Do you know how hard it is for me to? The only movie that I've seen in theaters recently was Wakanda Forever.
Was it worth
Like,
it?
oh,
So
100%.
good, right?
But like past that, yeah, I haven't been to a theater in years.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Like
Hey, what beats watching a movie on the couch, man? Am I right?
yeah, but like I haven't been to a theater in years out of laziness. I do enjoy theaters though.
You
I'm not
know,
gonna act like I don't.
but the truth is, there's a lot of people going back to theaters.
Oh yeah.
And if there wasn't, this crazy next headline, I was shocked when I read it. This next headline would not be a thing, but it is because people are going to see the movie over and over and over and over again. I don't understand it. Top Gun Maverick is about to come on to Paramount Plus in December. Available for streaming fans, yet in December, it's returning to theaters for another theatrical release run for 2 weeks.
I
I
mean,
just, and you know what? People are still gonna see it.
oh yeah.
People are gonna go see it again. And
I
don't get me wrong, it's a great movie.
I
But
love streaming
man,
services, but streaming services have the one thing and why I think it'll take a while. Like I think it's possible to kill off theaters. I don't want them to, but I think it is possible. But it's going to take a while because there's just such, and I think I'm loosely quoting Quentin Tarantino. There's just an environment. It's an experience. You're in a room with a all bunch of strangers sitting here, and all you're doing is you're just watching a movie, and all you can focus on is absorbing that. When you're at home, you can mess around, you can talk, laugh. You don't really pay attention, but when you're in a theater, that's what you're doing. You're there for a movie. And Maverick did really well. So,
yeah,
yeah, it makes sense for people that, don't want to go out to the movie theater, but it also makes sense for the people that want to get that same rush and feeling of seeing it.
yeah,
Like I might see it. I have not seen it yet. I'm calling myself out on that, but I hope it just makes sense to me, and that they would re-release it in theaters.
yeah. I mean, I'm interested to see how much more in sales they do at the box office. because they've already killed it for this year. They've been the #1 movie at the box office. So let's just see. The thing is, they're pulling it out of theaters right as Avatar 2 steps in. So I don't know how. I think this is a theory. Maybe the reason that they're doing it is they are just trying to get one more push to put them over the edge as the top box office movie of 2022 because they're afraid that Avatar is going to take this slot. Maybe. I don't understand Hollywood. Somebody in the chat, let me know why you think Top Gun is going back into theaters, and do they deserve to? Like,
Yeah.
should they? Like, come
Yeah.
on. Let me know in the chat.
As someone that understands Hollywood, at least a good chunk, it's kind of what I'm studying. Yeah, they deserve it.
It's a great movie.
It's a good movie, so let's
Yeah.
make some extra money off of it.
Why not?
That's the mentality.
Speaking of making extra money off of a release, Pokemon,
Yep.
dude, raking
Yep.
in them dollars
Yep.
with a product that is buggy as hell,
Yep.
but it is probably the most fun Pokemon game I've ever played.
Oh,
I've already beaten it. It's unreal, but the crazy part is it sells 10 million copies in 3 days, breaks the record for the highest selling opening weekend for the game. I mean, $10 million? That's insane.
yep.
Or 10 million copies, not even $10 million. 10 million copies. That's $600 million. That's $60 a pop. That's $600 million.
There's kind of a theme with new games, and like honestly, Pokemon can get away with it, but there is a little bit of a new theme, and maybe it was. And any gamers out there can correct me. Maybe it was. Oh God! Now the name of the game, the space game. Help! It's the one where you travel all across the universe. No Man's Sky. Maybe it was No Man's Sky that kind of started this because No Man's Sky released terrible, got better.
Mm-hmm.
I think they really
Battlefront 2, Cyberpunk,
all
they all did the same thing.
You sell them on this idea, this idea that this game's going to be great. It's going to do things that you haven't seen before, and it comes out and it's not everything it's cracked up to be. But if you wait with it, you know they already got your money. They don't have to release a finished game. They have to sell you on the idea. That's all marketing. And with Pokemon, it's even easier because it's like Madden. They got their fan base. They know they're going to make bank no matter what. They could be Pokemon garbage and Pokemon recycling next. And guess what it's going to be? People are still going to line up to buy it. I'm one of them. I'm a sucker.
The Mario movie.
I don't care. Like, I know for a fact that at some point I'm going to buy either, I'm probably going to, whichever one's the prehistoric one. I don't want to buy the future one.
Just to put it in perspective, how much money they made in 3 days.
Yeah.
Top Gun, so far at box office, has made $1.4 billion over the course of the year since they released Memorial Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
1.4 billion. Opening weekend, they only made 156 million. Pokemon made $600 million in sales in 3 days. 4 times what Top Gun released.
That's Pokemon.
In 3 days. Dude.
That's Pokemon. They got everybody because they got nostalgia. They got you. They got me. All right. Yeah. We knew this was going to happen.
They got 30-year-old men introducing their children.
They got 50-year-old men. They got guys who played Red and Blue, still wanting to play it because this game, it visually look.
I mean, like I'm introducing it to my kids, so there's 2 copies right there. Like, it's like I bought one for me, and you know what I'm saying, like.
Also, I don't know if they fixed this bug, but if you're listening and you play Pokemon Scarlet and or Violet, there is a bug where the game gets slower perpetually. All you got to do, save up your game, close it out, and move your save file onto the actual hardware.
Over the SD card.
Over the SD card, onto the actual device. Then restart the game. Should work better. Wanted to save a life with that one.
Sounds good. Honestly, it's been atrocious. It chugs along for sure. But I think there is supposedly going to be a patch soon. I hope there is. Like you were saying, we've seen this happen before where we had some bad releases. IGN gave the new Pokemon games 6 out of 10 just because of the technical issues alone being so overbearing. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I totally fell through the map when I was playing the other day. Like, and I was freaking out because when I came back too, I was stuck. I spawned inside the wall of a mountain and I couldn't get out. And I'm like, hopefully it allows me to fly in here, because there's that bug sometimes where, or when you're in a building, it's like, sorry, you can't fly in here. And I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to fly back to a Pokemon Center, which would have reset and pulled me out of that mountain. But if it did that, I would have had to start the game over, and that would have been horrific. So, ugh, I can't imagine. Anyway, but yeah, just the successful machine of Nintendo and Pokemon just continues to just blow my mind. But that's that. Let's talk about some more sports. I know you really wanted to dive into fantasy. That was another topic. We talk about fantasy sports every single week. This week, I'll let you go. Stat, how well did you do in fantasy in the 2 leagues that we're playing in, buddy?
It was a fall from grace in the one that mattered. Not to shame the Pocket Aces League. I have not checked it because I didn't put $20 into that one. I gotta really try. My 6-game losing streak snapped, but with an asterisk that I put there, it snapped to the number 1 team in the league.
Yeah.
I definitely made some mistakes in my lineup. I should have started the Chargers defense. I should have started TJ Hawkinson. But I believed too much. I drank the Patriots Kool-Aid too much. I thought we were going to do way, way, way better.
Yeah.
But I'm still in that playoff race. I'm number 5 right now, a place where I know a lot of people didn't think I'd be. And as long as I win this game, or everyone beneath me loses this week, and I can lose as well, I'm going to be in that playoffs. I'm going to come for that championship. And that's all that I care about, because as long as I'm in, I got a shot.
Yeah.
And
I am not playoff bound right now. I am going to be in the losers bracket unless some things pick up for me. I'm going to be in the toilet bowl in that league that you're talking about. So I need to win the next 2 weeks. And yeah, bro, it's been rough for that league. Meanwhile, I took on Freddie Airmail over in the Pocket Aces League. I won't badmouth Freddie too bad. He put up a really good fight, but he just could not contend with the turkey demolishing Buffalo Bills on Thanksgiving. Josh Allen popped off 31 points. He also had Diggs catching 21 points. So just overall really great game. I had the Vikings on defense, scored 9 points. Like, I had some solid plays overall in that league, and rightfully so. I mean, so did my competitor, Freddie. He said Kamara and Pollard let him down for sure. They just didn't hit projections, but man, that was a must win for me. I'm on a 2-win streak. I think I'm on top of that league right now if I go look at the rankings. But let's see.
Here's a
playoffs.
Question.
You're in 3 weeks. Yeah.
If you win in the toilet bowl, does that make you last place, or is it if you lose in the toilet bowl?
If you get they have the toilet bowl and then the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl obviously is like you're competing to win. If you get the toilet bowl, it means you were last place.
So if you win the toilet bowl, you're last place.
Yeah, because if you're in the toilet bowl and you win, you get put back into the winner's bracket. But you just basically have come in from the sense of like you've already taken a loss, if that makes sense.
I'm so glad I ain't got to worry about that.
At least as far as I understand. You can actually compete for a spot. Anyway, we'll see, man. I got 2 more weeks to play, and then the playoffs begin. That's where the real fun is. So I'm excited to see some fantasy sports. Let's get on with the last segment of the show. We do this one every week. This is the boss battle. We are going to talk a little bit more about college football, and I'd love to hear your take on this. So let's get it started with the boss battle.
Choose your character.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our boss battle. And tonight, our topic is, we talked about this earlier, who deserves that number 3 seed spot in the college football playoff? If USC and TCU wins out this week, who deserves to be number 3? Let me make a case for TCU, and then I'll make a case for USC. TCU going into the season was said to have the most difficult schedule on the year. They've remained undefeated in the Big 12. No other team has. They've all been at least 2+ losses. And TCU has just completely dominated their competition, especially last week against Iowa State, albeit Iowa State isn't that great. But they beat Baylor. They beat Texas, which Texas is a top 25 team. Honestly, probably the toughest team in the Big 12, aside from TCU. So TCU has a lot going for them. They're currently ranked number 3. USC, probably ranked number 4. Let's be honest. But the past 2 weeks, they have beaten back-to-back top 25 teams. They have momentum going. They beat UCLA. They beat Notre Dame. And now they're here in their championship. So the question is, for the boss battle tonight, who deserves that number 3 seed going into the college football playoff? Assuming they both win their prospective championships, they're both in the playoff. Who needs to be that number 3 seed, or who's taking on the number 1? I'll let you go.
I love TCU too much. I can't, like, USC is good. They're a great team. They got a lot of great players. I'm looking up the stats. Caleb Williams, who I figured we all knew was going to pop off, especially after that last game. Their defense, especially with Tuli Pulotu. I hope I said that right. Probably didn't. But, they're doing real well. But how do you not love everything that they got going on over at TCU? The hardest schedule, and they're undefeated. USC's lost a game.
True.
Like, only one. So, like, not detrimental. But with we said number 1 ranked hardest schedule, right?
Yeah.
Undefeated with that.
Yeah.
And they still have.
Again, the projection is based on preseason. They were projecting OU to be much better than they were. But I mean, even with that, like, TCU has come to show that they're here to play.
Absolutely.
So has Kansas State. So we'll see who wins on Saturday. I'm literally going to be flipping the channel straight over from the U.S. men's game right into the TCU college football playoff game, or not college football playoff game, the Big 12 championship game, to see if they're going to make it into the college football playoff. I think TCU needs to be in that spot, not just because I'm a diehard fan, but because they are undefeated. Say what you will. It's just one of those things, man. I think USC literally bought their way to where they are. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying they paid off refs. I'm saying, like, they made all the moves they had to do at the end of last season, recruiting Lincoln Riley, pulling in Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, I really think, is going to pull off the Heisman Trophy this year. There's no reason he can't. I don't want him to, because of what he and Lincoln Riley did to the Big 12 and did to the Sooners. I think that was just gut-wrenching. I was living in Oklahoma at the time, and that was just like, oof, man, that was hard. Man, I've got to say, I think TCU deserves to be in the number 3 spot. I think it's going to be USC taking on Georgia for the number 1, number 4 game. And then I think it's going to be the Wolverines taking on the Frogs. And that is going to be a game I love to see for that college football playoff. I don't know if the Frogs have what it takes to muster a win over the Wolverines, but I'd love to see them die trying, because they are my team. And I'm going to go with them 100%. So
I still have the Utes beating USC just because chaos. Just chaos.
Well, and per what Freddie Irmo mentioned this earlier, USC has 1 loss already this season to the Utes. They lost to Utah earlier in the season. It could happen again.
It could, and like, all the chaos, just drink it in.
Man, I just want to know who would be in that spot. I loved trolling Tennessee fans a few weeks ago when they were a one-loss team and TCU was above them in the college playoff. And they were like, there's no reason TCU should even be there. Tennessee still deserves to be in the top 4. And then they got beat that weekend.
I will say Tennessee deserves to be above Alabama.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That for sure needs to. I don't understand why they're not.
So the question is, who's going to be there? I think the only reason that Alabama is there didn't Alabama got beat by Tennessee, but
I think really, in my opinion, the top 3 spots are locked. I think it's definitely going to be Georgia, Michigan, TCU. It's that 4th spot that we really got to keep our eyes on.
They got to win their championship games this weekend, so we'll see. But yeah, that 4th spot, sky's the limit. We'll see who shows up to play.
Chaos.
It's going to be a great weekend for sports. That's all we're trying to tell you guys. So make sure you guys tune in on Saturday. Go watch yourself some games. It's going to be a good time. Go cheer for the U.S. 9 a.m. Central game. I know it's early for you West Coast people. 7 a.m. But, man, our boys could use your support. So go root for them and cheer for the U.S. of A. as they take on the Netherlands. Then go watch some college football championships. And then, make sure you guys keep it locked in here on the FCSE network all throughout the week. We have a great show lined up tomorrow. Again, coming hot. The holiday put us off for a week, but we've got Don't Cause a Ruckus back next Wednesday. And then we've got the Fan Control show coming back Thursday. So make sure you guys tune in for that. And also, if you guys missed amazing Cyber Monday sale, you missed out. FCF had an incredible sale. So be on the lookout for those deals. Matter of fact, they still have some sales going on. So go to the FCF store website, check them out. But that is it for our time tonight. That's it for the show. Any final words, final thoughts before we depart, Mr. Stathead?
It's always amazing to be here, talk about things. If you like talking to me, if you like listening to me talk about things, hey, I have a podcast on Spotify. Comes out Mondays. It's called Freddy Sat Go.
Did you guys release an episode this past Monday?
No, because we were very tired.
Yeah, I imagine all that turkey, bro. Hey, I was gonna say this. Their first episode, absolutely incredible. It was last week, or 2 weeks ago.
Yep,
2 weeks ago.
Last one was
is this gonna be episode 3?
Episode 3.
Ooh, episode 3. So get your Tres Leche in. Go over there. Get that number 3 combo. I don't know. I'm losing my mind. I'm delirious. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for choosing the Info Arcade. You're on the leaderboard in my heart. Until next time, I hope you guys have a good one, and we'll see you around here on the network. Take care.